Hey Mets fans, welcome back to the channel. I know you're probably not having a great start to your day. I know I'm not because of everything regarding Jared Porter, but I'm not going to beat a dead horse here. If you don't know the info about Jared Porter, please make sure to check out my previous video. I'll have in the description down below as well. I did it prior to the official statement that came out on Porter from last night, and then it was posted at 7 a.m. Eastern time scheduled this morning while I was still sleeping. And then an hour and a half later, Steve Cohen tweets that his contract has officially been terminated with the New York Mets. Then the Mets make their official announcement on their actual Twitter as well. So Jared Porter is out of the reins as GM for the Mets, as we know. So what's the next step for them? Well, I'd have to assume that Zach Scott will probably come in as the new GM for the Mets. Assumably that is going to be the direction they go down, as he was the runner-up. But can the Mets still make an impact this offseason? Absolutely. And I think that they very well could be making an impact over the next couple of days, because it only makes perfect sense when you look at the timing right now. So that's what I'll be taking a look at in today's video. So make sure you stay all the way until the end, find out all the deets and all my thoughts on basically the type of splash the Mets can make, and for more reasons than not, and exactly why it would make just perfect sense for the Mets given everything that has transpired, especially over the past 24 hours. But if you guys end up enjoying this kind of Mets content and want to see more great Mets content like this, please make sure to smash that like and subscribe button, share this video with your friends, put on the notification bell, all those great things. We have been growing tremendously here on the channel. I simply cannot thank you all enough. So thank you all again, Mets fans. It really means the world. But without further ado, let's get right into this video. Before I go any further, I just want to say this. I highly commend Steve Cohen and Sandy Alderson for doing what they did, terminating the contract and getting Jared Porter out of here as soon as humanly possible. And for anyone wondering why the Mets say didn't do it during the night and say dragging it out, saying that, oh, 9 hours too late, that is a complete joke. These things do not happen in a split second, right? These guys were literally late at night. They had to get paperwork together. This is not something that you can do in just 5 minutes. So for anyone wondering why it didn't happen sooner, that is why, guys. This is a business type mentality here. You cannot just do these things in a heartbeat. They have to get paperwork and things finalized before it can be made official or anything of that nature. So the Mets did it quickly and smoothly. If you ask me, they could not have done it better. I don't know how it would have been with, say, a previous regime, for instance, but I'm really happy with how they approached it. And it's a very unfortunate situation, but it's in the past now. So now we can look forward for the Mets. And if you're asking me, I would say that Zach Scott is again going to be the next GM for the Mets, considering he was literally the runner-up for the GM position right behind Jared Porter. Is a very smart mind as well, was close with Jared Porter, as we know, but no one expected this to happen with Jared Porter at all in the Mets organization. That's just how it is. It is what it is now. But now looking ahead now with their offseason approach, a lot of people are worried, and I was originally too, but not so much now because how smoothly they have transitioned things with, are they going to be able to make some more big moves, or is the offseason not looking too great for them now that this has happened? I think the Mets are definitely going to make big moves still this offseason. I don't think that their mindset changes whatsoever. I think that whoever is going to be in GM, whether it's Zach Scott or someone else, with either later today, and I'll report on it if it's made official today, among some other days, regardless of when it happens, the Mets can still make moves. That was evident during Sandy Alderson's time before they really brought an official GM in amongst some others. They can make things happen, so I'm not worried about that. And what a perfect move it would be for the Mets to really take the spotlight away in a negative light and not make them look like the LOL Mets, if you will. Because if there's one thing we know about Steve Cohen, it is clear that he has zero tolerance for this kind of thing. And the last thing he wants in Sandy Alderson is for this new regime to have this type of stank on them, to really look like the LOL Mets, if you will. They want to get away from that name as far as humanly possible and not let all the progress they made this offseason to really be halted given what has transpired over the past couple hours. So making a signing like George Springer just makes so much sense. As we know, George Springer has been the biggest name in free agency the Mets have been connected to since the offseason started. He has recently stated, or at least has recently come out again, even though everyone with a common sense kind of knew this by now, that he wanted to stay closer to home, being originally from Connecticut. Makes perfect sense for the Mets versus, say, Toronto. But when you look at the options here for the Mets right now, it would make perfect sense to land George Springer. Do I think that this affects George Springer mindset? I really don't, because let's be honest here. If there's anyone that understands scandals and maybe misunderstandings, it's George Springer. Like, come on now. But going back on to George Springer here, I would assume that we can very well find out an answer about him possibly as soon as this week. Reports are indicating that he may very well have a decision made, because we're reaching the end of January now. Things have definitely been dragging out longer than I expected. The Mets have made offers for him. The Blue Jays have made offers for him, both 9-figure offers apiece. But I would imagine that the Mets can land him on the right deal, even if it's slightly under the number than what he's looking for. He's arguably the only guy in free agency this year, if at all, that is going to make 9 figures. Maybe JT JT Realmuto, we'll see what happens, because I believe he was offered 100 mil for 5 years by the Phillies. Trevor Bauer's another guy on a long-term deal. That's a possibility, but George Springer has really been that guy that is kind of changing the direction in regards to the free agent market should he sign a massive 9-figure deal between 125 130 plus million. Whatever the number is going to be, I firmly believe that this will make more sense than ever for the Mets to get this done, to take the negative spotlight away from them with everything that's transpired this past night or so, and really just focus on, bam, we're going to make another great move and just show how amazing of an off season, a great regime that we truly have. Because as I stated earlier in a previous video, right on New Year's Eve for the Mets New Year's resolutions, I did 5 of them, and one of those was that the Mets should make a statement / blockbuster deal with this new regime. It only makes sense to really show that, yes, we're not here to play, we're going to be one of, if not the best team in all of baseball. We're going to try to be as soon as we come in with this new regime, and they do just that with all the moves, most notably being in Lindor, the guy on the wall behind me, and Cookie Carrasco deal. That trade was simply amazing. So now if you want to make another statement deal, you do George Springer, and then you go from there. I get it, the money is an issue to some, but I do believe also that the Mets, if they go past the $210 million luxury tax threshold, it's not going to be the end of the world. They have a lot of money that they're working with. It's something that a lot of people don't seem to understand, versus Steve Cohen versus all the other owners in the MLB. He did not lose any money given the pandemic, being an MLB owner like everyone else. So he has a lot of money that he's working with. They're not going to act like drunken sailors, but they're not going to let the threshold line be their barrier to say, hey, we can only get here, we can't do anything past that. They're going to do everything they simply want to do this offseason, and then go from there, and it's such a great feeling as a Mets fan. So guys, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. How do you feel about George Springer being a ticking time bomb for the Mets, possibly maybe later today or as soon as this week? Make sure to let me know all your thoughts as always, guys, and make sure to check out previous videos if you haven't already. It really mean a lot, and thank you all so much for the countless support here on the channel. Like I said, the Mets are not done this offseason yet. Now I'll be touching on further topics regarding the Mets later today as well, with players that they have shown interest in. So stay tuned, but thank you all so much. Again, expect great content here on the channel. We are only just getting started, and I will talk to you guys again probably in a couple hours.